Okay.
I've been doing some research about your music, and I've been listening to some of your music more attentively now because I'm doing this interview with you. And
Uh-huh.
you wrote songs about very interesting topics, and some of them quite controversial from where you come from. And you
Uh-huh.
wrote songs about loyalty, you wrote songs about love, you wrote songs
Mm-hmm.
about being rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want us to use those words to around your existence in East Africa as a, I don't know how you describe yourself, because I always, people ask you, are you gay? I'll say I'm queer. And sometimes whatever people want to label me, it's okay. Uh,
Thank you.
and
Yes.
I never make a big deal about it. But sometimes, you know how straight people are. Straight people are not, they need help. That's what I'm going to say. So when they give you a label and you say, okay, go with that, it's fine, because it's got
Look at
nothing
us throwing shade.
to
True though. I totally I can totally relate with you because if you ask me sometimes to just make it easy for people to understand, I would say gay, but no, it's not. It's like just queer because I feel like I'm more than just like I feel like I there's so many things that make this okay. It's not just gay. It could be gay and it could be non-binary. It could be, and I'm still learning because oh lord, there's like it's you need to get yourself schooled over this. So I feel like I'm so transgender. I relate to so many. I relate to so many people. So I just like whatever you think. People ask me, so Frankie, what pronouns should we use for you? Should we use he or she? I'm like, if you wake up in the morning and you see a he, then go with it. If you see a she, then go with it. Like, I'm fine.
I love that. I actually love that. But now, Frankie,
Mhm.
you wrote about love, but you can't really practice or do acts of love openly with the person that
Mhm.
you choose, where you come from. How does that make you feel? How does it make your songwriting even better? Because I know sometimes when you induce some sort of sadness, you become more creative. I don't know about other people, but that's how it works for me. But I want to know how you write about love when you can't even conquer it because you're from East Africa, and loving another man for you would make you end up in jail. Actually,
Well, honestly, um, when I write my music, it is always genuine. It's out of what I feel, which is most what most artists do. For me, I just write what I feel and I write for who I want to write for. However, to be safe, I always actually I've never tried that. I have never. I've always thought of it, but I've never tried it. Like write she or her, like singing as if I'm singing to her or she, because I've thought of that, but then I just decided. I've seen all of my songs. I just decided in the end of the day to just write, like to not focus on a pronoun. That's more like okay, a way where I can just be like, you know what, I also want everyone to relate to this song, but I know who I'm writing for. I know who I'm writing for, and they know themselves, and they're gonna hear it. And if and if it gets to them, and they that's the whole point. Like they're gonna understand writing. However, writing my songs and knowing that I cannot really express it out there. Um, for me, I write because that's the way I can express it. You get what I mean? Like
so
knowing that I can.
you've actually conditioned yourself into writing in a certain way, not fully expressive of how you feel. You've conditioned yourself, basically.
Actually, I express myself. Have you heard that song right now? I was expressing myself. I was telling things to this guy, all right? But then when people listen to that song, they do not know that or maybe they do, but most people wouldn't know. Okay, I think they do, because most people listen to my music, and even before they know who I am, and even before they see who's singing, they're always like, oh, that girl sounds so good. So in the end of the day, like, even if I was trying to write for a girl, let's just be honest, even if I was trying to write for a girl, it would sound as if a girl is singing for another guy. I mean, for a guy, and in this case, it's a guy singing for another guy. So I feel like I also take advantage of the fact that my voice sounds like this, and so even if somebody is, let's say, a homophobe, and they don't really agree with somebody loving another person of the same sex, even if they're homophobe. When they listen to my music, they would, and I'm assuming this is a man, they would actually think this girl is singing for them. You see, so I take advantage of my voice, but also what I do is, for me, since I cannot really freely express myself out there in public, I cannot go around holding hands with, first of all, if that person was there, because as far as I'm concerned, last time I checked, a sister needs help. So so
I,
if
I
that
can't,
person
I can't, I can't say I know what you're going through. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, just burn me like that, just burn me like that.
But listen, I want to know, but you're talking about the measures you take not to be detected, if we're going to, for lack of a better word. But you're doing this interview with me. It's going to be watched all over the world.
Actually, that's something I was going to ask you. I was going to like, oh, where is it going? But then again, I don't know. Sometimes I think this is the rebel in me. Like, sometimes I know that this is trouble, but I just, because this is life, and Lord knows tomorrow might be my last day. Today might be my last day. The next hour. And so at least just leave this moment true to yourself. And so if I cannot express myself just this once, or maybe more times in the future, but just thinking that I don't know what the next hour is like. So if I cannot express myself right now, I mean, I'm not leaving, right? So it's just that, you know what? Let me just speak it out. And after all,
I can't. I'm sorry. Continue.
And after all, I'm still a virgin. I have never been in a relationship. So, I mean, where's the problem there? If you know what I mean. So, I mean, back here at home, you get convicted of participating. But if you are, if you are still like me, like you've never been in a relationship, you just know what you feel. It's not wrong in Tanzania to feel the way I feel. Yeah.
But you know, I can't even relate, but I might have an idea of what you're going through, because in South Africa, we have, I know one artist, his name is Majola. I actually should hook you up with him. He writes beautiful music, and he writes from man to man, from one man who loves another man. And his album actually came out in 2014, but it's a timeless kind of a, and he writes in isiXhosa. So it's, but even though you don't understand Xhosa, you would know that this is a love song. That's how universal music is. It's beautiful, and that music. So even in South Africa, South Africans do not embrace that. So because you have South Africans, first of all, are very xenophobic. South Africans are very homophobic, but we have laws that actually protect, well, are supposed to protect us, and that is the safety net that we get, that we use to exist. And I'm speaking from my own lived experience, because, and I lived around, I'm talking too much and I'm supposed to be making you talk more, but I'm trying to give you context of, I understand how unsafe it feels for you, because even in South Africa, you always have to work harder than heterosexual people. You always have to negotiate your existence around heterosexual people all the time, and that's why, not for you not to do that in South Africa, you actually will have to choose the circles that you want to be in, so you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. So I was just giving you a perspective of solidarity with you, to say that, you know what, you're not alone. Here in South Africa, we are not completely free either, because there are people who will just not like you, or people who will just, and heterosexual people will always hide behind having a unconscious bias. Oh, I didn't know. They'll ask you all sorts of weird questions about homosexuality when they could have just Googled it, but they'll just go for you and ask you, And I think it's undertones of trying to make you feel uncomfortable or trying to other you, make you feel like you don't belong or something like that. So in your battle to try and feel safe and and express yourself fully, just know that there are people here in South Africa who are in solidarity with you, and we might not fully understand what you're going through, but I'm with you. I'm with you completely.
You know, one thing I totally get is it's never easy anywhere. Even in the places that I would see and think it's like, oh my God, this is the place to be. I know it's also still not easy there because in the end of the day, we still have the same human race around the world, and the human race is very dynamic, where you will have people, and you will have many of these people who would never, for this specific topic we're talking about, who would never understand and never want to understand and act rudely towards this topic. So I totally understand. And some of these people will be coming from the most liberal countries, where it will be like, for me, it would be a dream to be in these places.
Yeah.
And you might also be surprised. I'll tell you this. You might also be surprised, as much as there's like a very, very unsafe environment in a country like Tanzania. There's still, there's always going to be a group of people. There's always going to be places where people like me would feel safe. There's always going to be people that will be there to just fight for us whenever we find ourselves in trouble, or whenever we find ourselves in danger. There's always going to be those people.
Big up to
So yeah, so it's no matter how small or big this number of people is, but there's always going to be these people, even in a country like Tanzania, where you would expect things to be like really bad. And that is why we still exist up until today. That is why we still live. That is why we're still smiling, because it's never easy anyway. So
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. However, it will be a dream. Oh, the kids. It will be a dream. Oh, wow, vocals. It will be a dream. It will be a dream for me to be I swear to you, and I kid you not, it will be a dream for me to be where you are, in a way, because I see, for example, I really, really admire Somizi. Okay, and I see how he's just out there living his life and doing what he's doing. He got married in the most fabulous way ever, and I'm here like, oh my God. And I swear to you, he's one of the people that actually inspire me in a way that I'm like, he's living. And yes, you would say there's a way where he comes from, it's a little bit more welcoming for him to do so, but I believe it had to start somewhere. It was